likely received, quote, very clear guidance from her supervisors. Is that not, is that person lying too?
I have not received any evidence outside of the screenshot that Ms. Washington directed.
So those
her
two
team.
people are wrong. They're not telling the truth to us.
We are currently investigating this
But that's
issue
not what you
and
said.
bringing
You
in
said
the
this is
IG.
isolated, reprehensible, hasn't happened. This is the only time. And they're saying, nope, 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 it's commonplace.
I am saying that FEMA's mission is to help all people.
Well, let's look at
before,
maybe
during,
the
and
best
after
evidence we have
disaster.
is the actual screenshot. Can you put the screenshot up on the screen? Let's look at what the text message said.
What you just watched is exactly why congressional oversight matters. This exchange between Representative Jim Jordan and FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell is not really about one text message or one employee. It's about honesty, accountability, and whether federal agencies are being straight with the American people. Jim Jordan wasn't raising his voice just to make noise. He wasn't performing for the cameras. He was doing what too few lawmakers do consistently, which is pushing for clear answers when the story doesn't add up. Because when FEMA employees say one thing, the administrator says something completely different, and the actual evidence on the screen contradicts both versions, someone isn't being truthful. That's what makes this hearing important. I'm Audrey, and this is Congress Lens. If you want clear, no-nonsense reactions to what really happens in Washington, not the spin or the headlines, like the video, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications.
Administrator Criswell, is Ms. Washington lying to us?
Ms. Washington has.
She said it's common practice. You said it's reprehensible and isolated. Both statements can't be true. So someone's not giving us the facts, and I'm kind of trying to figure out who's not telling the truth.
The actions that Ms. Washington took were unacceptable.
Well, you had another employee. Now, they remain anonymous, but I think one of my colleagues pointed this out earlier. A FEMA official who spoke on condition of anonymity said Ms. Washington likely received, quote, very clear guidance from her supervisors. Is that not, is that person lying too?
I have not received any evidence outside of the screenshot that Ms. Washington directed.
So those
her
two people
team.
are wrong. They're not telling the truth to us.
We are currently investigating this
But that's
issue
not what
and
you said.
bringing
You
in
said
the
this is
IG.
isolated, reprehensible, hasn't happened. This is the only time. And they're saying, nope, 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 it's commonplace.
I am saying that FEMA's mission is to help all people.
Well, let's look at
before,
maybe
during,
the
and
best
after
evidence we
disaster.
have is the actual screenshot. Can you put the screenshot up on the screen? Let's look at what the text message said. The text message said, implement best practices. Like, this is the best practices. We're going to implement them. And they talk about making sure you're going in pairs or with more than one person, avoid the Trump homes, drink your water, take your towel, coconut waters. So stay hydrated, walk with someone else, and don't go to the Trump homes. It seems pretty common and matter of fact in the actual evidence we do have, the text message itself. But you're still saying Miss Washington and this other person aren't telling the truth.
When I received this text message, it was not in accordance with the way we conduct business at FEMA, and I directed
Even though it said best
termination.
practices, even though it said stay hydrated, which everyone would agree with, even though it said go in pairs, which everyone would agree with, even though it said bring a towel, make sure you're covered up, even it said coconut water is the best way to stay hydrated, even though it said all those practical things, the part about avoiding the Trump homes, that's not a best practice, that's not commonplace. Is that what you're saying?
That is nowhere in our policy, and I can't speak to
I'm
the
not saying it's in your
motivations
policy.
behind what Ms. Washington did.
But it was, okay, now her supervisor is this Mr. Hershey. Have you talked to him and to find out if he knew this was happening?
I understand that he was in her chain of command, and this is under investigation.
Have you talked to there's 13 people on this text message. Have you talked to all 13 of those individuals?
This incident is under investigation.
That's not what I asked you. I
Office-
know it's under investigation. We know how investigations work when it's done inside the agency. It takes forever. I'm asking, did you talk to the 13 people on this best practices text message?
The Office of Professional Responsibility has taken this, and they are following appropriate protocol to investigate.
Is the Inspector General looking at it as well?
And I have asked the Inspector General to take a look at this. I
Any
welcome their
idea
review.
when they're going to talk to these 13 people since you have it? Have you talked to, how about you personally? Have you talked to any of these 13 people?
I have not talked to them.
You have not talked to
personally.
any
I
of them?
have an entire team that focuses on this investigation, and that's what they're doing.
Seems to me it's part of a mindset that's in government. And this is the scary part, because I think it's broader. And you don't have to take my word. Take it what people have said. I mean, this reminds me, we've talked about this many times, but I can think of, well, actually the same person, let's go back to that. The same person who said, that this likely received very clear guidance. This other FEMA official also said this: I have heard from other entities who were serving in North Carolina that there was clear guidance to be mindful, quote, of the types of people who are in Western North Carolina. That's pretty derogatory stuff there, isn't it?
I have not seen any.
But you know what it sounds like? It sounds like Peter Strzok. Peter Strzok, when he said, oh, I just went into Walmart, I can smell the Trump supporters. Sounds like Joe Biden when he said, oh, the garbage I see is the Trump supporters out there. Sounds like the guys the Democrats had, the professor the Democrats had testify back in 2019 in the impeachment. Conservatives, especially very conservative people, tend to spread out, perhaps because they don't even want to be around themselves. This disdain, this mindset that's in the government where everyone's deplorable, everyone's garbage, everyone is, smelly people at Walmart, and oh, be mindful of those people in Western North Carolina. That's what it sounds like. And again, the best evidence is the text message we have, which reinforces that mindset that we have seen from so many people in our government.
The actions directed by Ms. Washington are unacceptable. And when I received this text message, I directed her termination.
Do you have any idea who this other, who this other official is?
I do not, and if you have that information, Congressman, please share it.
I don't have it. You're the one who's got it. You're the one who hasn't talked to the 13 people on the text message.
It has not been raised to me.
All right. I think, Chairman, I yield back.
Now let's talk about what we just watched. After watching this entire exchange, one thing stands out immediately. Jim Jordan came prepared, and FEMA did not. From the start, Jordan zeroed in on the biggest problem here. Deanne Criswell says the instruction to avoid Trump-supporting homes was isolated and unacceptable. At the same time, another FEMA official, speaking anonymously, said this kind of guidance likely came from supervisors and reflected common practice. Both of those things cannot be true. That's not political spin. That's basic logic. Instead of addressing that contradiction head-on, Criswell repeatedly fell back on the phrase, "It's under investigation." That might be safe from a legal standpoint, but it isn't an answer, especially when you're the person running the agency. The most revealing moment in this hearing wasn't even spoken. It was the screenshot. The text message labeled "Best Practices" was shown on screen. It included normal safety advice like staying hydrated, working in pairs, and protecting yourself from the sun. Then, without hesitation, it told FEMA workers to avoid Trump homes. That detail matters. Calling something a best practice suggests this kind of thinking wasn't unusual. It suggests it fit into an existing culture rather than being a random one-time decision. Jim Jordan understood that, which is why he kept bringing the focus back to the evidence instead of letting the conversation drift into vague explanations. And here's another key moment. Criswell said the guidance violated FEMA policy, yet admitted she had not personally spoken to any of the 13 people included in that text message thread. Not one. If this was truly shocking and completely out of bounds, you would expect the head of the agency to at least speak directly to the people involved. Jordan's frustration makes sense here. Investigations are important, but they don't replace leadership. Passing everything off to a process doesn't answer the questions that the public is asking. Jordan then widened the conversation, and this is where some people get uncomfortable. He pointed to what looks like a broader attitude inside parts of the federal government toward conservatives, particularly Trump supporters. He referenced past comments, past testimony, and familiar rhetoric that all carry the same tone of disdain. The text message alone doesn't prove everything Jordan suggested, but it proves enough to demand serious answers. Instead of clarity, what we saw was hesitation and deflection. Criswell did say she ordered the termination of the employee involved, and that matters. But it doesn't end the conversation. The bigger questions are still there. Who knew about this guidance? Who approved it? And how often has this kind of thinking gone unchecked? Jim Jordan didn't pretend to have every answer. What he did was expose the holes in the story, and that is exactly what oversight is supposed to do. This wasn't about scoring political points. It was about forcing accountability into a situation that clearly needed it. And that's why this exchange matters. If you want more grounded, honest breakdowns like this, you're in the right place. This is Congress Lens.